Oh, that's different. Looks like it was another one. So she said it used to have a big fence, and I'm like, oh.
Y'all ready to go? Dave?
Ready to go.
How about roll call, please?
Janet Eaton. Mark Reynolds.
Here.
Rick Hazard.
Here.
Bob Hamilton.
Here.
Cindy Mealy. Sean Platt. Keith Foster.
Present. Okay. So you're not in. No, there's always one. I'm here. How about approval of the agenda? Anybody have any additions? Should I call Cindy real quick? Just want to make sure. All right, somebody want to make a motion?
I move that we approve the agenda as submitted.
Okay. Okay, have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those that say aye?
Aye.
Okay, audience business, members of the audience will have 5 minutes to present a matter of concern to the commission. No official action may be taken at this time. Is there anybody here? No, there is not, so. Let's go ahead and start with Tahoe Street, since the ladies are here. You want to tell us what you're doing?
Sure, yes, we would like to, it currently has a wire, I don't know exactly what you call it, but a wire fence on the lot that, or the portion of the property that has the garage and the she shed, and we'd like to replace that with a picket fence that matches the picket fence that's up on top of the, there's a wall, a stone wall, and we'd also like to extend the picket fence along Towers and Third Street around the front and the side of the house.
Okay,
So that's the first agenda item there, I believe. Picket fence between 3 and 4 feet high, cedar picket between white.
anybody have any questions on the fence? Are you gonna leave the metal up and just attach the wood to the metal?
The one above the wall,
Yeah,
I'd like to leave that there, I
Yeah.
don't have people who get some
yeah.
fall off there.
Okay. Cause those metal pipes are in there pretty good all the way down through them.
Yeah,
Any gates?
what was that?
Any gates?
There's a gate, there's currently a gate for driving across the yard to the garage, and we would like to replace that with another gate that's the wooden pickets on it.
That would match.
Yeah, and actually, we'd like to use. I don't know if I said this in there, but we'd like to be able to use the metal fence already has metal posts. And we'd like to be able to use those to mount the wood picket fence on. So
Oh, yeah.
they're more almost like a concrete, that sort of thing, and it'll be a gate, so we can access the garage. And then a gate also, there's currently a red flagstone walkway from the back deck to Third Street. And there will be a gate there, and then a gate to the front of the house.
Okay. And you're gonna use wood pickets? Not taller than 4 feet, right?
Not taller than what?
4 foot.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. All important.
And they don't butt together, right? They're spaced apart.
Yes, yes. In line with a lot of the things that are around us, I think that we wanna do the pickets so that they have a peak. With a little, like about an inch flat on top, similar to what we already have that is on top of the stone wall.
Okay, how about the skylight? Where is that going?
Okay, the skylight, we would like to put a skylight in there on the. Do my directions here mixed up, I guess that's the north.
It's right north.
It's the Third Street, Tower Street, this side.
By the purple house.
North.
Okay, next to where the bathroom extension is going in there, and we'd like to do the skylight, they come, I guess they can have, I can't remember the names of the recesses or the. We don't want a big bubble, we want it as close to being flat with the roof as possible.
It's opposite seeing it from the street.
Yeah.
From Third Street.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a flat one. So that's good. Anybody else have any questions?
Nope.
No. How about some sightings?
They were in book two.
Okay, there's also the deck in there.
Oh, okay, tell us about the deck.
So the deck currently has, the deck out the back door has stairs that are really short and it's not big in order to reach down there. And we would like to put stairs on the other side down in the direction to Third Street that are to code, that have a step width and depth that are
Sure.
more normal, or code or grandma. And then extend the deck a little bit so that we have room for like a bench up there.
Okay.
And then stairs going down towards Third Street with that red flagstone in there.
Okay. Original, I think there was a set of stairs that went that way, see pictures of it. We have sightings for, let's start with the fence.
Yeah, we're in book two, page 51. Chapter 6. Article 3 is fences, walls and gates. 3A is, preserve original fences, and this is. There's some original fence there, I guess, and this is just
Yeah,
fixing up and adding to
I
it.
actually have a picture of, from a long time ago, that where that wire fence is used to be a picket fence.
Yeah, I got
There's a
that.
picket fence all the way around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it went all the way around, we want a fence all the
Go
way
back to it.
around.
The way it was.
Yeah, and essentially we're thinking during the leaf peeping season, we'd like to limit the temptation to park on the yard.
So A2 and A3.
That's page 51.
That's on 51, on page 52. B, new fence should be similar to in character to those seen historically, which it is. B3 wood plank. 4 should be painted. And 7, gate material should be pretty much the same.
How about B wood? A fence or wall should define the front
Yeah.
or side
And
yard.
you see, especially on the corner one.
Perfect.
I think that should cover us for the fences.
Okay, somebody have a skylight siding in there? Someone with roofing?
Chapter 7, page 68. Page 68.
68.
And section 5. C, skylights may be considered. Flat skylights, C1 is flat skylights going to the roof. Visibility from public way, that's C4. And C5. Flashing and trim should be non-reflective.
Okay.
And page 71 for decks. And that's section 7. It's actually on page 72, the section or article G, decks and balconies may be appropriate. What was the material for decks? Is it gonna be a composite decking material or
For the,
for the deck?
actually for, I think,
Be wood?
yeah, the cedar,
Okay.
like, yeah, cedar planks.
And it's on the first, it's on essentially on ground level?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not,
Yes,
Not raised.
okay.
So Bob, you're on page 2, section 7, and you're on G, correct?
Yeah, on page 72. And it's G1. Connected at ground level. G2 composite deck could be, although you're using wood, which is fine. New property is on hand. So I think that's it. There's no handrails or anything.
There's probably a handrail on the stairs,
Mhm.
so I'd say H,
Okay, yeah,
handrails,
yeah.
ramps, walkways, steps. Patios should be designed compatible with the primary structure,
So just H,
just H.
okay,
We could do H1 as appropriate materials,
okay,
or painted wood, non-reflective, painted or factory finished material, metal.
okay. Okay, so we have the fence, skylight, deck and handrail. Anything else?
This is a contributing structure.
Yes, it is.
It's marked as not contributing on the form,
Okay,
so that needs to be corrected.
okay. Oh, yeah?
Y'all heard that, right?
For what?
They don't want this contributing.
Okay, how about motion?
I'll make a motion to approve with the citing statement.
Okay,
I'll second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, ladies. We're ready to go.
And we're going to invite you to a house warming when you get older.
And you have to.
Who are you here for?
I'm here to represent Placebo. I'm not sure what all discussion can happen with that.
What's the discussion items? Okay.
Cindy Zykin is on Zoom.
Okay, we'll just send you then. So if you want to introduce yourself and give us your address, we'll start with you.
I didn't hear what you said.
That's great.
Cindy, you're on 2 devices, right? 'Cause you are in here as CND and also Cynthia Zykin.
It's really hard to understand you.
Can you
You
mute
need
one?
to mute. She needs to turn, because both of them are putting sound out, that's the problem. She has to turn her volume down on one of her devices.
Okay.
Get feedback.
Oh, no. That's gone.
Is that better?
Perfect. Did an A. Gotta go employment for a minute.
That better?
There was. Do you still have one turned up?
Can you just leave on the other device? Are you on 2 of them for a reason?
I don't know how to do it.
It's still the same.
It's.
Okay, so if your iPhone. Yeah, just leave on your iPhone. You can have the agenda up without being in the meeting, right?
I didn't hear what you said. Kasia, is that you talking in the background?
Yeah, Cindy, can you just leave the meeting on your iPhone?
Does that help?
It helps, yeah.
Yeah,
That works.
Maybe?
let's try it once. Tell us what you're doing.
Cindy, can you hear us?
Yes,
Okay. You wanna tell us what you're working on?
didn't hear that.
Can you, tell us about your project?
Yes. What we have now finished the fence. And we wanted to do some landscaping to finish what the front yard looks like.
Okay,
We were considering sin lawn because we don't want to waste money and resources on water.
yes,
We really liked the product because it provides not only turf, but a full drainage system underneath, so that in the event of a heavy thunderstorm, it would properly drain and wouldn't flood.
okay,
It's, our front yard is a postage stamp as far as size. You probably saw the pictures Keisha sent them with the agenda. The the vegetation right now is crushed granite, just leftover crushed granite and weeds. That's pretty much what it is. And we just thought it would look a whole lot nicer if we could put a synthetic grass down. Real grass won't work. It won't survive. A, we wouldn't be able to water it enough this year to keep it going. And B, when you have a female dog, grass doesn't work. They pee on it and it turns yellow and it dies. So we just thought this would be the best solution in this day and age, and would look the nicest, and it would look finished. The yard next to ours has a front yard grass. She has real grass. And so it would kind of look like that. Where it would look a little different is it would always look nice. You know, we wouldn't have problems with the grass burning in the middle of August or anything like that. So that was our reason for wanting to do this.
yeah, makes sense. Do we have any sidings for that?
I looked, I couldn't find any siding, and it's probably something we should add to our list of.
You guys are really dim.
There's also. There's landscaping sections that talk about the kind of foliage, but it doesn't specifically mention turf anywhere.
No, it talks about natural plants and stuff like that, which
Okay,
mainly for shrubs and that kind of stuff. So I think we can just do this as a note. We did approve the use of turf, this kind of stuff, for the new park down by the hotel.
yeah, okay.
That's going down there.
It's also at the school.
Is it? So I don't see a problem with this at all. I think this is something we'd like to see more of.
You don't think it should be on a contributing structure, but this is not,
Well, I mean, even on
it's fake on it,
yeah,
because it's fake.
but I mean, I don't see a problem. I mean,
I don't see a
it makes
problem.
sense, particularly with the, the water situation that we're in, which is not likely to get better anytime soon, so.
But I
Well,
think
we've
with the drainage pad, it's good, because then it won't,
Yeah,
because otherwise it's gonna basically be a sheet flow off if it didn't have a drainage mat.
yeah, I think the key is it needs to be done correctly.
Right, with the drainage.
With, yeah, I mean, don't go down to Home Depot and buy the $19 green rug and throw it in your front yard. I mean, that won't last, so.
Yeah.
But this is professional turf, so it's,
Because what's at the school is all flat now, but has kid traffic on it.
I know across the street from me,
There was one.
it's turf, and it looks awesome. And it's under pine trees, so it changes with the seasons, gets the pine needles on it, so it's, I mean, you have to know that it's not real.
No, when it snows, you can.
Well, there's a certain season you do.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
So I would
Definite.
move that we approve it.
all right,
With the drainage map,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, as
I
proposed.
think the drainage map's included, you know, that's included.
That's part of the bid. We absolutely wanted the drainage. We've seen enough of the
Right.
Georgetown thunderstorms to know you gotta have drainage.
Yep, you gotta have that, so I think it's important to know that that's part of it, so if
Yeah.
somebody else uses this as a precedent, that's mentioned.
okay. Anything else?
I didn't set
First, there was a second.
Oh, okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Stephen.
So it's approved?
Yeah, approved.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. James Gullet, you represent them?
I representing them.
Tell us what's going on with the gullies.
We would like to remove that cement tile siding. I think it's from like the fifties.
Yeah.
We'd like to remove that and put, lap siding
Okay,
on it. We want to, jack up and fix the front porch. Repair the front porch. New gutters. Soffits, fascias, and the bay windows, that trim would all stay as is.
are you replacing any with glass or anything?
You know,
Is there any concern that that siding could have asbestos in it?
it's been tested.
Hmm?
It has already been tested.
It has been tested.
Yeah, a
Correct.
few years ago. So, no, it has no asbestos.
Plain old asphalt, isn't it?
No, it's cement base.
Is it cement based?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, back in the day, so this is cement siding.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
but they're tiles. Over back 16, 18 inches wide.
It was a big deal in the late fifties, early sixties.
But I think back then it did have asbestos.
Yeah. Some of it did.
Holds up on,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's still there.
okay, anybody have any sightings?
And the front porch, the floor, it hasn't been determined, they would like. They haven't decided whether they want composite or keep it wood, but we will be tearing it up and repairing it.
The old siding's not behind the cement tile, isn't it? Don't know,
And we're gonna add some insulation,
so you need to get off and,
we're taking it off, so.
I don't know if there's glass siding in that or not.
I don't
a
know.
lot of times they did just cover it.
Yeah.
There is built a shed that's attached to the back, they're not siding that, because that's staying as is at this point.
For 2, 6.
Have you got something on the front porch? Or you got siding going?
You got that, okay? What are you doing, the rebuilding with on the house?
No, it's just the change of material.
We're changing material and, we're gonna jack it up and level it out and
That's a repair.
put it back to where it's supposed to be. If you sat in a chair on the ground, you feel like you falling down.
Change over the years. Did you write anything down?
I did not. So it was mine, I can't vote, so I.
It's on, go to page 71, porches. Preserve or reconstruct an original porch, that's A. That's what you're doing.
Yep.
B, avoid enclosing the porch. C, if replacing porch is necessary, reconstruct it to match the form and detail of the original, use materials similar to the original. C1.
Okay,
If they decide to do a composite on the floor.
well, G2.
I mean, we've always allowed that, so I don't see a problem with that.
Is the
So
siding
you should know if you
G2?
wanted to.
Is the siding G2 for composite? Oh, G2?
That's a bit,
Oh, okay. All right, that is the porch. How about siding?
It will page 88 if you want to.
yeah, that was big, 76.
76, last time. Oh, the incident.
Still hooked to, I presume, yeah.
It'll be a fiber cement. So,
And exposure.
let's go with 5.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't say anything in here, but the fact that the house probably had wood siding to begin with.
Yeah.
And we're going back to something that is, it's fiber cement, but it's, you know, it's gonna look like wood.
Right.
There's,
How about you use newer materials?
Yeah, that's page 81.
Is that page 81?
Mhm.
And our corner posts and to around the doors and windows will all be 4-inch.
Corners will be 4. Anybody find anything else?
Not reading that some.
No. So come back to the original.
Yeah, that was the original.
Hey, Jay, do you want to have something on it or
It
not?
was 81.
Synthetic materials.
81 is, D.
He is,
C1, new materials, you must have demonstrated durability. For this climate.
was there anything? else?
D2, so the lat dimension should be appropriate.
Okay. Was there anything on page 76? Somebody said page 76.
Oh, that's where it talks about siding, but.
Oh, okay. That's about comparing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're page 81, D1, D2. 4-inch trim on doors and windows and corners. Okay, anything else? How about a motion?
I move that we approve the application, for 605 Third Street
Okay,
to, remove and replace the, existing cement tile siding with fiber cement lap siding,
okay,
and repair the front porch with either wood decking or composite decking.
I'll second. Okay, is there any discussion, comments? If not, all those in favor say aye.
And
Opposed? Okay. Mr. Rowley is a winner. Let's do the mural real quick. You wanna do that?
Okay. Asia, am I leading this or are you gonna be a part of this or?
The murals,
Yeah.
What I'll say is that the Parks Commission was researching this for a little bit, that Luther was looking into other historic communities that do allow murals within a certain restrictions. And there's been interest from them for a while and interest from other commercial entities. And our current ordinance is murals are banned, so.
Okay.
So any flexibility there, I think it was just the beginning of the discussion. He has a particular mural that he's looking at for a client.
So this is the old Whistle Stop Cafe. It's right over on the, across from Mother's on that road that's a parking lot. And basically what we wanna do is just have it all the way around the building, the top be white and the bottom be, the half of it be green, and then at the front, just do where the colors are being, just do sort of like a mountain scape there. The purple on the fascia of the roof is actually the original color on the Whistle Stop, what it was back in the day. So we're trying to draw some of the colors out of what the original restaurant had. And
I think it's worth talking about what this guy wants to do, but I also think that in general, like the Design Review Commission should be having a generic discussion about murals, what we think they could add, what restrictions we think would be appropriate. Like what character areas you think that they might be.
true.
allowed.
So I guess what we need to kind of think about is, like, what do we do to start allowing them in the town? Like, do we have a certain sort of standard structure of what all of the murals need to follow? Is there a sort of like what's the review process? And ultimately, the DRC, would it be the DRC be the one to approve the mural?
I mean, they're not allowed right now,
Yeah.
so the process for it is also up for discussion.
Okay.
I think the appropriate process would be to come to the Design Review Commission. And it would be an application that they review, but there needs to be guidelines developed for murals, I think. And I think they, just like everywhere else, need to probably be different depending on if it's a contributing structure, if it's in the historic character area, if it's in the gateway, you know, so, yeah, and other places do allow murals, but
I was on that too, just to. In addition to DRC, I would think it ended up being zoning regs as well, right? I would think the murals. Would be part of zoning regs if and what would be allowed, and see what you have proposed, and then. If what you just described, you have a photo of that? But what constitutes a mural?
Yeah.
I mean, I like that, that's pretty cool. That's really nice to be put. And, you know, that versus stuff you see on downtown buildings in Denver, you know.
You don't want to end up with SpongeBob riding a choo-choo train.
Right,
Right.
or, you know, or.
And-
Even more fundamental than that though is. Given that our guidelines are rooted in federal guidelines. Is there anything that precludes from that direction? Putting murals on historic buildings? I think that's something that we would need to look into. I mean, is there a precedent for it, or is it, you know, is it allowed, is it not allowed? I don't know.
Well, I think if there was an existing drawing on it, you could reproduce that. I mean, we thought it talks about that.
Oh, yeah,
There's those signs.
Cause this would also affect just like those sort of old painted signs on the side of the buildings as well.
Well, the existing signs, the Design Review Commission has designated as historic and protected, so they can be restored,
okay.
repaired. But anything, like there are ghost signs that don't exist right now, could we repaint them? I don't think.
That's a different discussion.
Yeah, and I do think, to Tom's point, that it probably would not be in the guidelines book, it would be like signage, Title 18. We probably lay it out in the code, like what was permitted and what the process was for review, not in the Design Review guideline books. It would live in a different spot.
Well, I guess it's like the first question is would we want to move forward with,
Yeah, I do think that's the fundamental question is.
you know, and then what we would do is from there, then we would have to develop a process that would have to get approved by the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, that would be. It would probably go to selectmen and the planning commission. I have to look at that.
Because ultimately what like, why I've been thinking about this, and because I'm into this, because like I wanna keep them. So, you know, the thought would be, there would be a vetting process where there would be a list of standards that the town, you know, generates and approves and all agrees on, is like, this is allowed, this is allowed. It's gotta, like, the mural's gotta have historical integrity with the town, fit the theme of the town, you know, it can't go against, you know, what the vibe of the town is. And there would be a vetting process that would go through and just get the chaff out of there, and then finally, like, from there, it would go to whatever, like the DRC or through zoning or whatever to get it approved.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay.
Should be explicit to commercial buildings. So somebody doesn't do this on their house.
That's very true.
Well, it should probably cover that too. I would think, that's a good point though.
Yeah, and then it's just like I know, Zach, Matt and Robin, that's how I remember them. They have approached me about wanting to do like some sort of historic themed mural on the side of the buckskin that faces the trading post. So that's another example of, you know, like people that have been approaching me with potential projects of this. So we like another just example of what we can use. It's just, this kind of just came in. The old Whistle Stop is, they just approached me about 2.5 weeks ago that they wanted to kind of do something like that.
That one's borderline just paint versus a mural, but I think a mural guideline's good.
Yeah.
You could almost call
Just
it
one,
paint.
I know, right, that's kind of like what's weird.
Yeah,
That one's almost kind of.
I mean, can you do a zigzag?
Yeah,
Like, at the
exactly.
border of colors?
Yeah,
I mean, would we want a modern mural on a historic building?
well, that'd be a part of the discussion.
I mean, I think it's gonna take more than a 5-minute discussion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I guess,
well, what I'm hearing is that am I correct in interpreting that you are open to it, like?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
and I think that's really all we were after tonight, and then we'll just put together like a proposal and, you know, do the due diligence of what directions to take. And then would that come back to the DRC?
yes, I mean, parks could do it too, but I think that it's the most appropriate coming from you guys.
Yeah,
Because you are in charge of the design
yeah.
of the town.
Yeah, I also been like requested to do a mural over by where they're doing the skate park by the old
Right.
tennis courts as well, so.
Okay. All right, that's a good start.
I
Okay.
wanna be the mural czar.
All right.
I thank you.
Yeah, with that one, that's borderline mural versus just a paint job.
You wanna do gazebos?
Yes, we'll do it.
Exactly.
I even gave you the fancy paper.
Tom, tell us about the gazebo.
Tree fell on our garden gazebo.
Oh, yeah.
Rough that out, so the town asked me to go some options for the roof. Basically redesign the gazebo, which went through with the board of selectmen on Tuesday night. So I had my understanding narrowed it down to what shows up in the ramp option. If you have those drawings in front of you, so the ramp option will be the set of drawings to look at that was the roof design that was agreed that the town wanted to roll with, so I've been working towards that, and I just saw when I was sitting here, your correspondence, Brett, your question about the ramp and.
Right, because the ramp, if it meets ADA guidelines, would be about twice as large as what's shown here.
This should, I saw it, yeah, I don't know, I mean, the floor area, I'm not sure.
Well, the problem is wherever it changes direction, you've got to have a 5-foot landing. So,
Well, yeah, I think therein lies and I've noted this here's what curb ramps are allowed. Straight,
Curb ramps.
right?
As long as it's perfect 1 to 48 across perpendicular to the radius, or in line with the radius,
Right,
which is very hard to build.
I know, and I,
That's-
before
I've
I.
had curb ramps
before
that
I-
have been because the contract's like, no, we can't build concrete that tight, so.
And so, yeah, and obviously with our builders in the room here too, they
Yes.
might be able to comment and help me out too, because here's, before I showed this, I wanted to, thought, well, if I can build it in a model, it can be built in real life in terms of.
The problem also with the miters,
planes, not, and I.
well, with the miters, you get it's across the ramp, it's greater than 1 to 48 because, well, it's not a full width there.
I follow what you're saying, because the quick way.
Although I love this, it'd be a lot simpler than a full ADA compliant one if the town approves it. So,
It's really, it's ultimately would be safe built, that would have to approve the ramp and say, yes, this is a curved ramp versus cause I ran into the same thing, it's like, well. It's. In the direct language, changing direction might be it, but. What constitutes, I mean, yes,
it's a change in direction.
yes and no, so it's, I guess.
Is it a straight line or not?
Specifically, yes, but if it's a continuous run, like a curve, I mean, in theory, you could just extend the boards out and put a radius on it and call it curved. Is my point that would be my argument to safe build, should they come back and say, you gotta have a landing at each one of these facets, each one of those, agreed. No,
Then you
no,
double the size of it.
it wouldn't, that would not be an option if we had to have a landing every segment.
Mhm.
But again, just going on the theory of a curb ramp and building out of wood, agreed, difficult. And I don't know if you guys are trying to do that, but in the model, how I found out it appears to work is basically at each segment, those are actually horizontal, so even though they're displayed from each other, not parallel. The top and bottom landing are horizontal. And so your inside line is gonna be your steepest line, that's your maximum ramp. Your outside line will be slightly less because it's longer to hit the same points. And then in between, just basically in between, run your joist parallel to your sides, not perpendicular. And run your decking taper too, not as like in a radial pattern, not just parallel. When you get to the corners, run more parallels. They all kind of need to be tapered as along the long length. So each run with each board would have to be tapered to be. So when those lay down, because what, like you were talking about, what that creates is a twist basically in the surface. But that twist is handled or between each board, putting down individual boards, the overall surface has a slight twist. But at no point does that twist exceed the 41 and 48 crossroad.
That's the hard part. So I've had inspectors that put their levels on there and for the entire width, perpendicular to the edge, and if it's over 1 to 48, then they make you fix it. So that's the hard part with this one.
And I guess my point is if you're going across the full width to width, it should be parallel. Well, it's not be quite parallel, but
That's the hard part with this ramp. And if the curve ramp, it's the same thing, full width with the radius. Every one of those segments would have to be 1 to 48 around the curve. And that's where the contractors are like, concrete can't do that, wood,
well, yeah, agreed, it's not
this is a difficult ramp. If they approve this and it gets built like this is much better than a fully compliant.
I think the fully compliant ramp would be appropriate, and this is.
No, it's
back to.
It would be twice the size of the gazebo.
What's the likely gonna be and get a variance where you don't have to have it fully compliant? Is that something that's done?
That's a safe build.
That's pretty safe built the town.
Yeah,
The town can actually
I just didn't want to.
override safe built.
Okay, so-
So if the town says this is fine, then yeah.
It's for around.
So I can.
I'm just commenting that if we're saying that it's fully ADA compliant, it doesn't meet the letter of the
Yeah.
guidelines unless it's built absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
The other question I had.
Without beyond normal construction.
Yeah. The other question I had, Tom, the basement's there. Would it? And I go to you guys as well, would it be cheaper to just wipe that away and build from the ground up? Rather than try and save that material, not knowing what kind of condition it's in and.
Yeah, that's, I think, I don't have a good answer to that. I got on there, I jumped on it and pounded on it. It seems solid as can be.
It looks like it has concrete piers too.
It does,
Yeah.
yeah, so I think the foundation portion, there's basically 10 piers, there's 10 concrete.
Well, I'm thinking, I mean, I assume that the original post started at the concrete and went up through the floor.
Yep.
So now you've got a post that's been chopped off at the floor level. So it may be smarter to just get rid of all the wood, start with the original concrete foundation if it's in good shape. And rebuild it. That might be cheaper
I think,
than trying to,
Finagle ramp.
stamp onto it and replace individual
what I've
timbers
been
and so forth.
basing, at least, and what I started working on, the drawings get together, get to the engineer as well, so you can start looking at least the roof structure of it. I think part of that, I don't know if it'd be cheaper, I guess probably wouldn't be cheaper to rebuild it, but the question is where I found the rot or potential problem is, so the old posts, there's still a spot there, so where the old post came out, we can put a new post right back down there, same spot. Is all, that can be cleaned out, but the old posts were just lagged in to the end grain of the floor beam, so the floor beams are in there, are saying it's.
So they're supported by light bulbs?
No, they're not supported by lagels, they're sitting on the concrete, and there's a center concrete pier right dead center, so there's basically at each corner, there's a beam going from center out to corner, so there's those beams, so the end of those beams and then the post that came up had lag bolts that held the posts in. And so where those lags were, I'll say, not all of them, but there's 4 or 5 of, so less than 50% of the ends of the floor beams are rotted, at least at the ends. How bad that rot is, I didn't assess that one.
A connection with some kind of an engineer connected between the beam and the post.
And then, and my thought if the existing structure could stay, then I would imagine there would be we put a new standoff post, where the new post would sit. And find a way to go up from there and go up from there, so. In theory. That framing could stay if it's the question I would have is. At what point, these 2 beams are really rotted at the end, we really need to replace these, can we replace 2 of those beams, or at what point is it easier just to rip it off and.
The other thing I'd replace the whole foundation's gotta be a full depth foundation then versus
Yeah, that's
just
true.
built on top of what's there.
Yeah,
That's gonna add a lot of cost.
Yeah.
Well, I would think we could, without digging down and knowing how details go, the fact it's been standing there since the 70s. Other than the tree falling on it, the base, I don't think it's shifted or sunk or is sloping or, settling anyway, so I think an engineer would probably sign off that, we can. Put a new roof on top of this like we had before. I noticed out there too, the actual platform is slightly pitched. So the center is higher than the side, I don't know if that was, I assume it was intentional, just so.
For drainage.
Private range, it's 2x6 ton groove. Running, will be running perpendicular to the drainage, so drainage, yes, no, because it's gonna, water's still gonna get in those cracks, where it wants to go, but. That pitch with my crew tools, my drafting tools, not surveying tools, out there trying to just determine that pitch, it's probably slightly steeper than the 148 cross slope is allowed, so again, that's one that. You might be able to sand it down and refinish that a little bit.
Call it existing.
Say again?
Call it existing.
Yeah, and if that would. Raise a flag in any inspection, I can't be certain on that one either.
I think it's to the point where. It'd be great if we could just tear the whole thing down, but I don't think cost wise we can afford to do that. And without putting a whole new foundation in there, so we ought to try to use what we have. Even if we have to replace some of those floor joists. We could always sister those up too.
Yeah, and it would really just be the main beams, they're all, everything's 4x8, 4x6, 4x6, I think those beams are. There's not many 2x joists, it's basically just all those radials and there's like one cross, the wide end, there's a cross and a T just to. So that wide span, so the tunnel groove, doesn't have to span the wide side of that, but. So it's very minimal framing from that standpoint, but it's a lot heavy from the.
Yeah.
Not to say that can be rebuilt with just, double or triple UIs or something. If that's any more efficient. Or if that's more susceptible to rotting too.
Rebuilding it will solve our ramp problem too, because we can make it shorter from the base, right?
Well, that was the point I thought about too, even if we found a way and just. Lowered it even 6 inches, I would say, so how, where it's a 30-inch.
You could build
29 inches.
Build the sidewalk up or the decomposed granite up, cause you just dump a load of that up there and build it up 6 inches.
Why bring it up 6 inches without much trouble?
No, I was talking about.
I know you were talking
bringing
about
it down
down,
6 inches.
that's not about bringing the decomposed.
Agreed, that
beams
was,
up.
that was an option, I didn't, cross my mind,
If we don't have concrete there, we've got a pile of dirt basically that you can build up.
Yeah, and I don't know if, at what point is.
If it's,
Is a 6 inch gazebo a gazebo? I mean, right, from a. To get off the ground and be what it's supposed to be, and I think what you're getting at, if we only had, we were only 6 inches off the ground.
no, I'm just saying, build the side or the fake sidewalk cuts another 6 inches, 8 inches, whatever, to reduce the length of the ramp.
Existing base, do what?
Build the ground up.
Just on one side,
Well,
Just
bring
yeah,
it-
build
just wherever the ramp takes off
the
from.
sidewalk that leads to the gazebo. Well, elevate
Yeah,
the
if
last
it's,
section.
if it's a less slope than 1 to 20, then it doesn't count as a ramp, so if you just build the decomposed granite up. And grade it out.
It's 30 feet.
Oh, no, I don't mean 30 inches, I mean like 6 to 8 inches, that way you reduce the length of the
Reduce
ramp.
Yeah, you're talking about if we level the whole thing and start and only have a 6 inch.
No,
No, you can do it now.
yeah,
You saw it.
I'm saying, where we have the dirt sidewalks, decomposed ramp, and dirt sidewalks, build the, grade the sidewalk itself up 8 inches on one side wherever the ramp takes off from. And then the ramp length would be 8 feet less,
Yes, yeah.
and so that would help
yeah.
with that part,
Okay,
not all the way around,
I see, okay,
just
okay.
wherever the ramp takes off
Yeah,
from.
Becomes a
Okay.
landscape
Yes,
problem
that-
rather
Yeah,
than
then it's a landscaping problem,
a construction problem.
Just to shorten up the length of the ramp.
Exactly.
Not to eliminate it or to,
exactly, just to shorten it,
agreed, that could be
and
done,
that could help,
yeah, so that's a.
as long as it grades out to less than 1 to 20.
Yeah, I mean, that's similar, I guess, also to shorten the length. What I was starting to talk about was if we got rid of the framing, so it's a 2x6 framing that sits on top of the concrete pier, so we could basically lose 6 inches if we frame it flush to the top of the piers without having to cut the top of the piers. Basically have the tongue and groove go over the top, as opposed to the joist and the beam sitting on top of the concrete. So that would lower it 6 inches, that would reduce the length of the ramp. That was just a thought.
The connection is kind of difficult.
Yeah, on around here, it'd be a little wonky to bolt stuff to it or, bolt the hanger to it. I mean, probably not the end of the world, I don't know.
I have to make some saddles for it.
Yeah. And what I was starting to use or basing my current layout and stuff on is there's actually metal brackets, that is two-sided just for the floor beams. And those are through bolted and anchored to the tops, and then the legs that are on the face of each facet is just a 2x skirt bolted to that all the way around, so it kind of creates the perimeter and then something to build below, the wall panels below. If those, if we keep those metal brackets there and use the same size lumber and posts, that was kind of my thought, if in theory, if those are. They're pretty skinny, probably 316, now the engineer would say that needs to be beefier, but again, those didn't twist or. Those all look to be in still normal shape.
There'll be a structural engineer that looks at that, right?
Yeah, so I'm trying to get together at least enough that we can send off to him and then he can come, take a look at it. I guess the same engineer that's working on the library stuff, they almost tag in on that so they can But, so yeah, structurally, those are that's kind of what. And I guess in that comment about email her about a beefier, I guess that was the one of the.
Oh, yeah, Mike Huggins. wanted-
Yeah, he thought the verticals looked kind of skinny. And I didn't get a chance to say in the meeting the other night, just didn't quite come up, but, I'm utilizing the same 4x6 posts as we can go to 6x6, but then it won't fit in the same slot of the existing, where the existing ones fit before, assuming we keep the base as is. So there's a few little things like that to consider. I'm planning and to be able to draw it as is, base same height. And maybe like you're saying, we just push the dirt up to reduce the ramp if we have the opportunity or after we get into it. And contractor says, this whole thing needs to be reframed, then maybe we could look at framing it 6 inches lower also, which I think would still be enough height to give it a gazebo feel, and save an additional 6 feet of ramp, plus or minus.
I'd like to see it same height. 'Cause we
Same
got
height, I
people out
think so.
there performing.
Yeah, and it's right at the, 30 inches is the other magic number for code for, ironically, and I did check into this, Brent, if anybody knows for positive sugar. That basically anything that has less than 30-inch drop, no guardrail
Correct.
required.
Less than 30 inches is key.
Yeah, so,
If you have to build some dirt up around it to.
yeah, so in theory, but I did a 36 inch rail on there just to have, so it's not just a drop off.
Cause over 30 would be a 42-inch rail.
Right, exactly. So in theory, it could be a 24-inch rail too. In theory, but anyway, I just wanted to point that out too. This is a 36-inch rail. The ramp does require a handrail. The top rail I have and count as a handrail. We need a, one on both sides, like follow those ramps, but.
Painted metal.
Yeah, I'm thinking minimize those, just do a black thinnest metal and rail we could do just so they
Yeah,
don't jump out.
not galvanized.
Yeah,
Cause galvanized does not look good, not for this.
yeah, no, I'm just thinking, yes, the black metal,
Painted metal.
yeah, painted, something, whether it's.
I was wondering too, if the ramp went all the way around it. To me, it looks odd with a double ramp on one side.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I have.
Is there enough space to do the stairs on one side and then just continue it all the way around and?
As long as
The
you
ramp
don't
on
have
the other
intermediate
side.
landings, there is.
Yeah, that's an option I started with,
Cause it's less than 30
I don't know if
inches.
Cindy saw that one or not, I was developing it and then. I know,
Make the ramp longer, so it would be less.
Well, as long as it's less than 30 inches.
See it, that would be the direction that the band would perform, and it would obstruct the.
Well, you could even, then they could do some kind of decoration in the front. Landscaping in the front, so that. The stairs on the left, the ramp on the right go up.
So Tom started with
Okay.
that design option actually, and you did a mock-up of it.
I have I'm not sure who or what may have seen that. If anybody saw
I think Dennis did, but I don't know if anybody else.
yeah, I started in ramp initially, like I said, started just wrapping around and see if it's all the way around. I think it's a good 3/4, if not, 8 of those facets around.
Build the grade up on wherever the takeoff is and build the dirt up wherever the takeoff point is and reduce the length of it a little bit.
So that is.
As long as everybody's good with no landings.
Yeah, that comes back to, is it a continuous ramp or is it a turn and a required change in? I honestly, and not trying to beat the code or whatever, but I think, it's the intent of the code is what we always try to argue or make work in, for certain things like this that, I was hoping actually to find an exception that, a small gazebo this size wouldn't need ADA access, but I couldn't find that, it's a public park, that there's not an alternate one, that is accessible, that you can say, like if Like we have them in the corner where we have dirt burned up and you could just wheel up to one in the corner of the park, but that one's accessible, this one's not. That-
If there was an alternate, then we might can make that.
Yeah, that would be okay, but that's not the
There's not.
case, so, yeah, I think, and I guess, you know, I don't know either how Safeville might interpret that, I think it's, you know, presented as a continuous ramp.
If we
And
can
with,
make that
we
argument,
have the landing at the turn where we make the 180 turn.
or if it goes all the way around and we say it's a continuous circle. Even though it's
Right.
an octagon, but
Right, and then. And I'll double check those, you know, that cross slope, but I did double check that, is the first thing my first option, when I was just trying to quickly build it,
That's
all just to get a visual on it. I realized I was over that cross slope allowance, but I think this version works, albeit.
How
I
about,
think the framer has to really be paying attention and understand, and I'll try my best to draw it up to the, here's how you build it, here's, you know, these two parallel and just match the lines, and I think the biggest part is the radial decking.
Hmm.
So they're slightly high shades, they're not,
Figure out,
yeah,
just lay it out. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty easy to figure out.
I was,
challenges at the minors if you say that the full width is the ramp.
I think that's.
That's gonna be an interpretation part.
And. Yeah, well, as far as, I think the pitch is okay, I think I think the question is back to what you said, if say Bill's gonna say, that's a change in direction, you have to have a landing at every 10 point. I would just, I mean, just from I don't know, I mean, it seems wheelable and I have been in a wheelchair, thank goodness, but, you know, I don't know how hard that is to navigate. I mean, if a curved one is allowable and you can wheel down and go around the curve, then you can do this, that's my point,
yeah, I agree.
so.
What are you gonna do with the ceiling in there? Gonna have that sloped up or?
Yeah, I'm looking, I think so, and then basically so the dormers would be over frame, so the inside would just be 5 beams, so it's basically a 5-sided. Base roof, as you can see from that, and just I imagine those beams just meeting up at the center too.
That will help with the sound. Okay. Do you have any questions for Tom?
I'll talk more to Dennis too about, you know, I'll need some direction. I mean, I can show him what, you know, again, the wraparound versus the zigzag.
I like the wraparound better if you can make it work.
I guess part of that, like you say, Kimba, what's the front, what's the back? What's, you know, if there's gonna be a band here, do you want that kind of behind them and versus having, you probably would, versus having that barrier all the way around the gazebo was, that was
The
city.
way I see it is that spot where the ramp is, that's the front of the stage. And the band would be playing that way, cause that would be facing towards, Rose Street.
It's usually, they usually set up so they play toward the old Missouri,
So which way?
toward the Missouri.
So towards Taos.
I always thought the
Okay.
big spreads.
I thought they faced Rose too.
Yeah, I mean, the north perspective would be the front. So it's kind of what I'm.
I wasn't.
There's then the ramp going up on the other side.
Yeah, I didn't remember where the existing stairs were, I think that got clarified in the meeting the other night, that, again, those were facing, was it?
I don't know.
Wait,
North perspective, also usually place in town.
That's where they're facing east.
The southeast
Facing
corner.
east, it's Taos.
Yeah,
So which way does the band play? Which way do they face when they're?
usually they face toward the east.
So towards Taos.
Towards Taos. Okay, so I would,
That's why the flagpole's there also.
okay, yeah, so maybe this ramp wants you to rotate 180 degrees to where that ramp is not in front of the band. As is, if I'm. Or. Yeah, I think the way I have it drawn right now, basically that ramp is.
The reason they did that is because there was more seating space at one point in time on that side versus the back sides.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll review that.
There's the
See what, yeah, what direction. I think that either way, the concept of building a ramp and what I need to draw for that is probably regardless of what it's a round or a zigzag like this one, so.
Okay,
Yeah, because we're just looking at conceptual something.
all right.
If there's a landing, the bank can overflow to the landing. Set up on the landing too.
That's what I was thinking, if this is the front.
They can set up on the landing. and-
If the ramp started up
A
here,
long flowing
it comes up to
ramp
that
that
lady.
runs all through the park,
Like-
and it ends up
Yeah.
with the gazebo.
That's what I'm.
That's what I would see that.
Picture.
There you go, that's the concept right there. All right,
I have worked on the guideline reformat, so I have like a rough outline, but it's confusing to read and I wanna tighten it up for you guys before I send it to you. But it's basically what we talked about where it's broken out, I broke it out into residential and commercial. And then I just have all the categories, so like mass and size, building roof form, all of the categories, and then if there are differences, because I think a lot of them are the same district to district, like.
Yeah.
The roof form is not different in the hillside resident or historic hillside versus historic. Or residential, so, then we can identify those under that category, but that's more or less how it's split up so far, so. For the guidelines.
Is this a complete rewrite or what are we discussing?
Were you here last time we had a meeting? We were talking about, we did not get the grant to have someone else reformat to DRC guidelines. But we had a discussion about, I think it needs to be redone because it's difficult to navigate for a lot of people. And so we discussed a proposal of a new format for the guidelines, so the guidelines themselves need to be reworked some also, but just the format, simplifying it a little bit. So it's like one roof section and it's not like you have to go to.
So that kind of is a complete restructure of the.
Yeah.
Which is easy enough to do in the open.
Yeah, well, if you say so, I don't think that's.
Doesn't bother me, it's easy enough to do.
Yeah,
'Cause I can
and I
have
think,
PDFs all day.
I personally also would really like to get rid of the column settings because it
I
makes
like
it.
those myself.
Yeah, I think like aesthetically, I get why we did it, but it's hard for screen readers, it's not accessible, and so, yeah, it's not as clean. I also would really like to redo the numbering system, so when we're going through it, it's not like. Oh, what section is this? I don't know, page 73, and then A1. Yeah, so I would like to redo it. Kind of in the style that like land use code or that our municipal code is, where it's like chapter 17, this is section 2, this is underneath that is. 1 and then I or whatever, so. So the citations will change a little bit too.
Sorry. What, did you have a program or something you use?
Bluebeam,
What is it?
Bluebeam,
No.
it's probably an expensive program, I don't know.
But yeah, I don't know how much experience whoever has an AI, but something like that, if you scan the existing guidelines. And they just,
I don't have enough faith in it yet. I know it's getting better all the time, but I have put documents in AI and it does not give me anything close to what I need yet, so.
interesting, yeah,
I don't travel.
with things, but.
My boyfriend swears up and down that if I just write a 3-page prompt, it'll do it.
Right. That's the trick, is
Yeah.
by that time you could redo what you want.
Right.
Right, no, I get it, no, yeah, that's.
And now
Anyway.
with Bluebeam, I can copy paste anything in there and reformat it, whatever, so.
Yeah. Anything else new that's going on? Lots of things, I guess. Have not heard about the Villa grant yet, that Bob and I worked on, but we did our presentation in between the last board meeting and now.
That was awesome. You
Um,
did a really good job.
We did our Villa. It's on Zoom because it was snowing a lot that day and it was clean. 2 of the panelists were like Oh, man, we went to the Georgetown Town Hall 15 years ago and it was awful back then. Can't believe you're still there. And I was like,
It's all,
well, just the condition of it.
okay,
Do you not think it's awful?
I don't think
You're
it's
welcome to
awful, but-
swap offices with me if you'd like. It's a lot, there's,
If you
I
wanna
see
sit-
holes in all.
if you wanna sit in a cubicle, watch
Upstairs
that.
office. I said, you and the other 8 people in the office
Yeah.
downstairs,
Starting to get a little crowded there.
just a bit.
That's it needs to be, this
It's
building
county.
doesn't have a foundation and the bathrooms are in terrible shape and the wallpaper
Pretty good
is.
movie set.
It's all cosmetic you're talking about.
The foundation,
That
not
George house is
existing,
about
cosmetic.
foundations in town.
It's a typical Georgetown
Oh, yeah.
project,
Good.
rocks and logs.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you guys approved the letter that we sent in support of this project. And let's see,
I don't know if sitting in a high rise is worse or better.
you're what?
I don't know if sitting in a high rise office is worse or better than that, so.
Oh, well, I've seen worse offices than mine, that's for sure,
Okay.
That's for sure. At least it has character, but, you know, I'm excited, I'm like really excited about having a door, so, and like water that's not from the bath, so. You know, we can't make coffee in here, you know, like,
Ah.
the amenities are not great.
Oh, yeah, no coffee.
Well, and actually, let me, we do still make coffee with the toilet water or something.
Yeah,
What?
It's just that's how you heat it down.
Yeah. Maybe don't drink the coffee now.
Okay, let's do minutes.
search was wrong.
Yeah, minutes, sorry, go ahead.
Anybody have any corrections on the first one? Is there 2 of them? I think there's 2 of them.
Thank you, folks.
Yeah, thanks.
Alright, thanks.
See where it goes. Sure, you'll hear it all.
March 26th.
Yes, yeah.
Under old new business. Made a motion to approve the application. That's not anything I noticed.
Yeah, you're gonna just be grammar.
I know, now
Yeah,
that he's
just
reading
go
these
for
minutes, I don't like it.
Oh, I wasn't here. Okay.
Okay, anything else?
That's the only thing I saw.
How about a motion to accept these minutes with the correction?
I mean, we accept the minutes with, the March 26th minutes with, correction.
Okay,
I'll second.
all those say aye, favor?
Aye.
Okay. How about, April 9th? Anybody have any corrections there?
I didn't see anything there.
It's not, no, it's not.
I didn't see anything either.
How about somebody make a motion?
I moved that we took the minutes as submitted for the April 9th meeting.
Okay, second?
Second?
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
One thing for you to consider before you adjourn is that Joan intends to resign as the chair, so if anybody is interested in being a co-chair with Mark, please consider it, we will be discussing it at the next meeting.
Is she still gonna be on the DRC?
no,
No.
No.
Okay, you said resign as chair, I didn't.
Well, she's resigning from the commission, she
Okay.
wants to resign as the chair, so.
Gotcha.
The timelines there are not sure, but she's resigning next meeting, so the
I
chair.
really can't be full-time chair. So
I know their house is under contract.
yeah.
Who's the next senior one here?
Yeah, I don't know.
I've only been on it for 2 weeks.
I think I got voted in this month.
Cindy's the next.
Oh, yeah, Cindy.
Cindy's the most senior one here.
Yes.
Well, she's not here.
She's not here yet,
So we can check her next, so we can.
Well, let's not resign yet officially, so that will be done as still chair.
Can't do anything for she resigns.
But consider it, and then we don't have to discuss it right now.
Okay, not really discussed. All right, anything else? Thank you, Kasia.
Thank you.
What's?
I need to move to adjourn.
What you?
I moved that we adjourn.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right.
No.
We
Thank
are.